Space, the final frontier. Man has been traveling here since the 60s. All of them brave voyagers, highly trained astronauts, not everyday people until now. Our mission, to take ordinary members of the public, put them through a rigorous training regime on an isolated Russian military base, and then blast them off into space. Or so they'll think. Unbeknownst to them, they'll never actually leave UK soil. The scene is set. The countdown to launch has begun. Will the contestants even want to go into space? And if they do, will they fall for the biggest practical joke in television history? We're about to find out in Space Cadets. Hello and welcome to Space Cadets. It's Space Gym, but not as you know it. So what are we trying to achieve here? We have a two-part mission statement. Part one, we must convince a group of people that a large field a stone's throw from Ipswich is in fact a Russian space training facility. Part two, we must convince this same group of people we're going to put in a shuttle, blast them into space for 5 days, where they'll make history as Britain's first televised space tourists, when in fact they will be in this high-tech shuttle simulator based on genuine NASA blueprints in this aircraft hangar here in that same field near Ipswich. Now, if they last the full 5-day mission without rumbling us, they'll each walk away with a bundle of cash. This is the most elaborate and expensive hoax in British TV history. So what could possibly go wrong? Well, to be frank with you, pretty much everything. But don't panic. If the whole ruse is rumbled, there is a plan 2 in place which cannot fail. 10 episodes of Jamie Oliver's school dinners. He came to the rescue of our children's health, and he's on 24-hour standby for us. So, as you can imagine, it's been vital that every detail has been covered, and in tonight's show, you'll be getting a behind-the-scenes look at the extraordinary time and effort that has gone into making sure this cosmic adventure succeeds. The whole project began back in April and was labelled top secret. If any information about the programme got out, then the ruse would have been ruined and the whole thing cancelled. So everyone working on the show signed up without knowing what it was about. Fake shows were invented to throw the press off the scent. Contestants applied to shows that didn't even exist, and actors auditioned for roles without knowing what parts they were playing. So, back to task 1, establishing a believable Russian space facility right here near Ipswich. Star City, the Russian base that has trained every cosmonaut to blast into space. We had to replicate this facility to stand any chance of convincing our cadets they were at a real space camp. It was a tough task, but in the heart of the English countryside, we found just what we needed: a decommissioned military base from the Cold War. As you can see, there were similarities, but the producers believed their site looked better than the Russians'. Job done. The site was packed with all sorts of interesting buildings, but it needed to be transformed from a derelict airbase into a convincing launch site for a space shuttle. There were 4 major areas that needed a complete revamp. This rundown building needed to become the barracks, where our space cadets would eat, sleep, and spend their spare time. The cadets would receive their training in the missile-proof building that used to be the base headquarters. The interior needed to transform into a Russian lecture room, where our cadets could learn how to become space tourists. Mission Control, the nerve centre of the operation. This is the real deal. At the height of the Cold War, a nuclear strike could have been launched from here in 5 minutes. The cadets will see this area only once, when it will be filled with actors dressed as flight engineers and mission specialists, who they believe are controlling their mission. Finally, this old aircraft hangar, previously used to test fighter planes, would need to become, well, space. It's in here our shuttle will be assembled. Our cadets will enter it through the tunnel once used to muffle the noise from the jet engines. This area needed the most work, as it's in here our cadets will need to totally believe they're boarding a shuttle to blast into space for a 5-day mission. 3 square miles of an old military base in the English countryside to turn into a Russian space camp. Tricky, or as the Russians say, tricksky. So, with a little slice of Russia under construction in Suffolk, it was time to find some space cadets, hence the title. Yeah. Listen, lads, and I said it's good to mutter and stuff for the realistic, we're working kind of thing, but that's a bit too much. So you need some wannabe astronauts. How do you do it? First, you place a pretty vague ad in the press. Of those who applied, we invited the top 100 to London. Remember, at this point, they have no idea what the show is all about. Nice. Hold on, you look interesting. Who are you?
My full name is Jonathan Edward Sidney Harris VII, and I am a lord.
I say. Lord John certainly has the confidence. What about the rest of you?
When people want a good night out, I'm the person they phone, and when I turn up, immediately the smiles on the faces turn up, and people are like, right, he's here, let's get on with it now.
People follow a lot, people can't make decisions for themselves, but with me, you see, I can do everything, you know, I'm a leader.
Always try and take the lead. I kind of always initiate things rather than just wait for it to happen.
My teeth are bent, they've done these front two teeth, they're bent, and my feet are size 12. And it's true what they say.
What is it about me that the public would like to see? What is it about me that the public would like to see? They are the fact that I can turn the question into a rhyme.
I try and get on with everyone, and I think I'm quite popular just because I'm good fun to go out with.
You know those kids at school that were always like quite cool, and when they bounced a ball when it went into the bin, or they took things behind them, and that was me.
These people had opinions.
I hate chads with an ungodly passion.
Doesn't make a difference to me whether you're gay, straight or whatever, not a problem. I'm not gay, therefore I don't want to push it in people's faces. I don't want to see other gay people push it in my face.
Hi! My mother says she wants me to hook up with one of Fergie's kids. Now, I won't, you know, bad mouth, but not my cup of tea. I don't like redheads.
At the end of the day, despite no one having a clue what they were applying for, some came a lot closer than they could ever have imagined.
Going to the moon is just something I think everyone wants to, well, not everyone, but I want to do it.
If I could pick any job, I'd be an astronaut because I'm just really fascinated by space.
I read in the newspaper the other day that for 30 million you can do it, so I need to start saving.
I'd love to be an astronaut, you know, just being held into space.
There's like another world out there, and I'd really like to explore it, but I guess I probably will never do that.
Or will you? Thankfully, they will never make that journey to space. I say thankfully, because let's take a closer look at this shuttle. Yes, from the interior, it appears to be a faithful reproduction of a genuine working space shuttle. But the exterior view is another matter. It's made of wood, and it just wouldn't be safe. You see, even though I don't know a lot about space travel, one thing I do know is that wooden panels have an annoying tendency to burn up on re-entry. OK, we're going to take a break now, but join us in a couple of minutes when we reveal how the use of the most advanced psychological tests and empirical scientific profiling techniques we use to weed out the wrong stuff from the right stuff.
A skull put on top of like a lampshade, smiling with a cowboy hat on it.